Hey, Kathy, and everyone out there. Today we're messing with the schedule. We're changing things up just a bit.
Makes me itch. That's right. We are doing a little bit things a little differently. We were supposed to be talking with author JD May, but sadly she had something come up the last minute.
Yeah. And that's always unfortunate. In fact, I don't know if we've had that happen before, but it was bound to happen. But guess what? The
Yeah,
show must go on.
yeah, indeed. But we still get to talk about JD's book, which I have right here. If you're watching us on YouTube, it is called Factor-7.
I'm doing the Vanna White too.
I love it. And hopefully we can get JD to answer some questions in writing because we can't manage in our schedule to get back together on video or on Zoom. So hopefully we can get her to answer some questions and then we'll put that in our show notes when the episode comes out.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And we can also still share the wine that JD May picked out.
Well,
Because
yes.
we don't want it to go to waste, right? All right. So it's La Crema Chardonnay.
Okay.
And I have been wanting to try this.
It's a beautiful, show the bottle again. It's really a
Yeah.
nice looking bottle, I think. And I have been
Yeah.
wanting to try it as well.
It's very clean. Like Kathy likes the clean.
I do like the clean look. Okay, so tell us about this, Christy.
No,
Well,
you know
I
what? I decided I didn't even
uh,
look it up because I kind of ran out of a little bit of time, but I said, why don't we do our own tasting notes?
well, you are switching everything up today.
Yeah. So let's taste it and see if we can come up with any of the tasting notes, and then we'll ask our sound editor Connor to look it up. How's that? And he can
Oh,
tell us how good we do. Oh,
I'm
come on,
game,
it'll
but
be
I am
fun.
okay. It's fun. This is fun.
Yes,
Okay.
I know. I make Kathy do all kinds of crazy stuff. Mm, okay.
you
I'm
you
gonna
need to
go
go
with
first because
I'm gonna go with I can taste a little minerality.
I just
You
spit up
know,
my wine. Minerality. You can
well,
taste
sometimes
minerality.
they say it's like mineral tasting. I feel very earthy on this. You don't taste that? I
Um,
don't drink a lot of Chardonnay, so
I
that
don't
might
either.
just be the
Actually,
Chardonnay taste.
I do not drink a lot of Chardonnay, but I was just going to say fruity, but it's a fresher than there's something fresh,
Crispy.
crispy, like bacon.
I don't know. Well, you got to say which fruit because those tasting notes, they always say a bunch of different fruits.
Um, uh, apricot.
Oh, that's pretty good. I was going to say maybe grapefruit.
Mm. It is. It there's um something very fresh to it. Maybe citrusy. I think
Yeah.
it's citrusy.
Okay.
There
All
we
right.
go.
Well, that's
Pretty
good
good.
enough. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
see.
Please, let's stop. Let's not torture anybody else anymore.
Connor, tell us.
You both did pretty well.
Mm.
Um, but I think I give the edge to Christy.
Oh, really?
So
Why?
it's all right. Here is what the tasting notes are on the website. Aromas of baked apple, brioche,
Oh.
and pineapple
Mm.
are followed by flavors of Asian pear, lemon tangerine, and notes of minerality.
No, you are making that up, Connor.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Seriously, it said notes of minerality.
Yeah, I thought that would be the toughest to get, but somehow you
I
guys
don't know
didn't
why.
guess
You know
any of
why?
the
Because
right
I've read so
fruits.
many of these things and it always says either something like that, like earthy,
I
minerality,
am
but
very impressed, Christy.
I am so impressed.
Kudos to you.
I
I'm
mean, I
very
was thinking, I was just trying to sound good.
I think I need to up my wine tasting skills.
But I do taste pineapple now that he mentioned it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can taste that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Connor.
Okay, so this is a very good segue because I just said I clearly need to improve my wine tasting skills.
Well, so do I, because really, I only got minerality.
That's very
You got the citrus. There was a little citrus
nice.
in there.
It's white wine. Anyway, so that leads me to a topic that we should talk about. And I think we should talk about post-vaccination kind of wish lists or plans.
Yeah.
Because we've both been
Yeah.
vaccinated,
Yes.
as many, many people have. And it does allow you to start thinking about, wow, this is going to open my world a little bit. What can I do?
Yeah.
Gives me
Kind of
motivated.
gets me a little motivated, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think? Give me something on your post-vaccine wish list or motivation list.
Well, I can start out simple.
What's the best?
And that would
Especially after last
be
year.
kind of like a healthier attitude because now I know I'm going to live probably. So maybe I should just get a little healthy about it because
Preserve a
for the
little.
last year,
Mm,
exercise
yeah.
kind of went on the downslide, and alcohol kind of went on the upside, and
And eating.
fried food, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
So I haven't given up my chips yet, but I've cut back on the wine, of course not completely, but
Not when we record.
yes, but not to the wallow on the couch extent. And I've been trying to get back into like a little bit of a exercise routine.
That's
So
awesome.
that's one thing I've been doing. What about you?
Ditto on that.
Hmm.
Ditto. Not the. I wish I could say that I came out of this last year healthier, but I definitely cannot say that. And I struggled this year with all kinds of things
I mean, didn't you think that like in the beginning you're like, "Oh, this is a time to do all this stuff." But all of a sudden it's just like you hit a wall where it's like, "Wait a minute, there's nothing changing." And so then it just
yeah,
kind of
I was very stressed and anxious this year, unlike
mhm,
ever before, and I wish I would have turned to more exercise
mhm.
than less, unfortunately. But definitely getting back to that. I agree with you on that completely. I'm looking forward to getting back in the yoga studio.
Oh yeah.
I was teaching. I stopped doing that. The studio closed for a while. Megan, our owner, did reopen the studio with all kinds of accommodations that was pertinent to our local laws. Our community's been awesome about protecting businesses and people here, but I just couldn't feel comfortable just trying to protect my husband
Well,
and our business.
remember in the beginning, like maybe a year ago, and I was like, "Oh, Kathy, you can teach me virtually. We could
Yeah,
do yoga."
and I wish I would have done that, but I still would
I
like to.
know.
But yeah, so I'm really anxious to get back into the studio just to practice with other
Oh
people.
yeah. Oh
Just
yeah.
um, I miss that. I love doing yoga at home, but I certainly don't work as hard or do as much of it as I used to. So
Right.
and I miss my yogis. They're really awesome people. So
Oh, I know.
um, and Christy, another thing on my list though is conferences. I was
Oh
thinking,
yeah.
we watched Sleuth Fest last weekend, was it?
Mhm.
And
And by the way, that's part of the motivation. Brad
right,
Parks's thing was
he
so
was
good.
great.
He talked about similar things on our podcast,
Mhm, mhm.
and it's so motivating. So if
Yeah.
you're in the mood to get motivated, go back and listen to Brad Parks again because
Oh yeah.
he'll get you going as writers or as a person in
Any,
life. You
any creative people or anyone doing any endeavor, I think his advice is sound. But I'm really excited to get back to going to a writers conference. I was so engaged by Neil Nyron's intro remarks
mhm.
and Brad's closing remarks, and I thought, oh, I just can't wait to go to some writing conferences in 2022, hopefully. So
I
including
know.
so
I know.
that's
Do you think they'll have any in late 2021?
you know I know BoucherCon is scheduled, but
Mhm.
even if it is, I'm not ready yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not.
I know the vaccine's getting out there, but there's a lot of people that are still
Yeah.
on the fence or
Yeah, and I think we as we need to be more responsible for everyone, not just
mhm.
worry about whether I've gotten the vaccine,
Right.
think about everybody. So
Right.
um I will say that yesterday I did a couple things. Yesterday and today I did a couple things that I have not done for a year. I went with my daughters and had a spa day, and we had massages and facial.
Nice.
And I certainly haven't done that since
Mm-mm.
well before the pandemic. And I got
Mhm.
my hair did. I got my hair colored and
My hair done,
my hair done. And um
and it
I
looks
did
lovely. Come
thank
on
you.
YouTube and look. Don't look at
I
me.
no,
I'll
no,
just
no.
put like a little
Jessica.
black screen by me, and then because I haven't done my hair yet, but
But it was interesting. I'm not gonna say reminiscing, I was recalling with my uh, friend Jessica, who does my hair, about how challenging it was to shut down and how scary it was. And um, it wasn't necessarily a fun conversation, but it certainly made me appreciate being in her chair and having her cut my hair. So,
right.
just those little things like,
I mean, I feel like some days I feel like, oh my gosh, this has been like the longest. And then other times I'm like, where did the year go? Because I guess there was no
Mhm.
highlights throughout the whole year. It was all everything was the same. So it was kind of hard to say, oh, all this stuff happened. So
Yeah,
all this time passed. So you kind of think, it doesn't feel like a lot of time passed, but then other times it's like, oh my
yeah. I do
gosh.
think because when I talk to, I mean, any number of people about things, trying to recall when was this conversation, or when did we do this at work, or personal. I think time kind of became more fluid, which
Mhm.
good and bad. I don't, I
I
don't.
know, it's hard to
It's
tell.
going to take a long time to assess this year.
I
That's
know.
for sure. And we're still in it. I see numbers rising, and I think, oh
Oh
my gosh.
gosh. I know. I
So
know. I know. We got spring break down here. Just saying.
I know.
But another thing I started, Kathy, and you will be impressed, and I know you kind of did this as well recently, is I downloaded Scrivener.
Oh yes.
I think I need a tutor. Is there
Okay.
anybody out there that wants to tutor me on Scrivener?
I did, but
Because,
I bought a tutoring a tutorial.
oh, really?
But I'm doing mine on Windows, and the
Me
tutorial I
too.
bought is really more based in Mac, I think. There's just
Oh.
some slight differences, although I think there's been an update lately. Um, but I agree, Scrivener, very excited about this.
Yeah, yeah. And I've just like kind of tried to play around with it a little, because I'm like, it's moving it in and out of Word, and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Because I was like, oh, I'll move my manuscript in and then, do my editing from there. And then I'm like, not sure because
Yeah,
I can't, it's a lot to
it's a lot. I think it
start.
might be easier to start from a new project from scratch instead.
I do
Yeah,
agree. And, but eventually I'm going to have to get that whole formatting for submission. And that's the
yeah,
part that I don't really, I seem like I'm changing things and getting it, but then as soon as I export it to like a PDF or
yeah.
something, it just doesn't look the way I wanted it to. So
Well, there are a ton of classes on Scrivener, and so we should ask people to give us their recommendations for what worked, what was some
right.
recommendations for that, because
Yeah.
I could use
Or,
those too.
nice single Scrivener expert who wants to give me a one-on-one
Turn this
tutoring.
into a dating profile. Anyone who's vaccinated and wants to talk to us about writing software, please message us at gamingbookspodcast.com. I promise we're worth your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, another thing you did recently is you went to a restaurant or a bar and had a glass of wine. You sent me a
Oh,
picture.
yes, I did. I went to the wine bar on Las Olas. It's open air, and it was like they have an outside seating area.
Mhm.
And they had one of my favorite local bands was doing a little, acoustic
Wow.
duo thing, and it was lovely.
It must have felt so
I
good.
know. I know. And everybody was, when you're there, you're kind of social distanced anyway at the
Mhm,
tables, and then you're outside. So I
mhm.
felt comfortable putting my mask down to have my sips.
Yeah,
And
yeah. It's strange though. You get used to having that mask on, and
yeah.
so when you take it off, you feel a little naked.
I know. I get a little nervous because I mean, I'm okay, but I don't know about the next person. And, if there's kids around for sure, they haven't been vaccinated and stuff. So,
Yeah. Well,
but
it's exciting
yeah,
to talk about just that next step here. It sure feels
yes,
good.
yes. So when you come visit, we will have to do that as
No,
well.
we are going to wrap up our season together, which is, I didn't think it would happen. And
I
I'm
didn't think
certainly
so
excited.
either,
Yeah.
but vaccination is a wonderful thing and
Yes, it is.
we're going to be there.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yep. All right. So
Speaking of that
let's
topic.
let's talk about
Segue.
pandemics.
Yeah. That's
So yeah, like we haven't been talking about.
I
So
know.
we can talk about Factor-7 a little bit
Yeah.
because it was kind of crazy kind of reading about a threat of a pandemic during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And
So
it
I'm
was kind
holding
of
up,
creepy.
it was creepy. It's a very creepy book. I am on purpose. I mean, that was her intention.
Yeah.
I'm holding
Yeah.
up the book cover on our,
It's very
here on
pretty.
YouTube. It is a beautiful cover, but it's got kind of lots going on there,
Oh yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
but yes, so this um it definitely creepy. It's more than a virus. This book is not just a recon
Right,
book.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pure science fiction. I
Science fiction.
mean, I hope. I
Yeah.
hope we're not close to
Um,
that level, but you never know
yeah.
out there.
It reminded me of some of the pandemic movies, that
Yeah.
we've seen before, like Contagion
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. That,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you
Um,
know what? Did I see Contagion all the way through?
well, if
I
you
feel
haven't
like at the
done,
beginning of the pandemic, I started to watch it and then I was like, not the
no,
thing
can't
to
do that.
watch.
Yeah, yeah. This is really interesting. So, yeah, definitely
Yeah,
science fiction though.
it's science fiction and it's
Mhm.
obviously criminal, but I guess we don't want to give anything away, but we can kind of say that at least some people survive because
It's
she's
cool.
working on a sequel now.
Yes,
So
yes,
we can say
and
that.
there are two doctors in this book who are leading the way to save the world, and one, I believe, she modeled after Matthew McConaughey. So I hope he's the one that survived.
Oh yeah, me too. We're not gonna say. But yeah, so I mean it is true. There have been other books out there. Do you remember The Stand? Did you ever read The Stand?
I didn't. Stephen King.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't read that.
I read that when I was pretty young.
Yeah.
And it's a tomb. It's huge, but I was real into Stephen King. I was reading everything. And that book, look at, I mean, we're talking, I'm not going to say how many years ago, but it's like decades ago.
Yeah.
And I still can remember so much about it and everything about it. And I never did watch the movie or miniseries, but
Mhm.
it really is impactful. And it was about a pandemic, but it was like instead of what we have, I don't know the fatality rate of this pandemic, but that one was like a 97% fatality rate. So barely anybody survived.
Wow.
And it was pretty scary. And now looking at it from a different perspective, it's like, wow, glad that didn't happen this time. But
Well, this experience it changes how you read things and watch things like that, because before you think, well, that would never happen. This would never
mhm.
happen during my lifetime, that we'd have 100-year episode of a virus that changes everyone's world, and man, it sure did. So
What about like shows now that you watch and you're like going, first of all, I'm looking at them going, okay, notice how they're not getting within 6 feet of each other, the actors. Like they're like, I love you so much over there on the other side of the room, you know, or or they're not wearing masks in a big crowd and you're like going, oh
on
my
a mask.
gosh,
Yeah.
like that's usually the old movies or old shows that you're
Mhm.
like going, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just kissed. Oh
Yeah.
my
Did they touch
gosh.
each other?
Because they're
My
cheap.
daughter said that last night. We were watching The Queen's Gambit, which I finally started watching, which is
Oh, so good.
fabulous. And she walked in and she was like, God, that's so weird. They're not wearing masks. It's a historical, it's not even current, but you just get so used to.
Yep.
Um,
Oh,
yeah,
funny.
that's so great. So great.
Gosh. Yeah.
Well, I'm anxious to, sorry we couldn't host JD May today, but we'll get hopefully some written comments from her to share with you all on our
Yes.
next blog post. So make sure you sign up at gameofbookspodcast.com.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, next week,
Oh my gosh, so excited.
willing, we will have Corks and Conversation with author Chris Calvin, whose book, All That Fall, which
Mhm.
I have on the other shoulder, my Vanna shoulder. And that's actually being released next Tuesday.
Yeah, so you can order it.
Yeah. Mhm.
So good.
Yep.
It is a great, Christy and I got, the privilege of reading it before it came out, and it is a very, very good book.
Yep.
And she's
Yep.
super
So that'll be
fascinating.
nice.
I can't wait to talk to her.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, oh, what we didn't mention earlier, but we are being industrious. And so now we have on our website, you can download a step-by-step guide for a virtual book club.
Oh,
And that, why not do that in our off season? Start a book club over the summer. You can still do it virtually. And
what I love about this, one of the things that is going to be great to take away from this time is that if you want to have a book club and you can get back together with some of your friends, you can invite other friends that are in Florida or South Dakota or far away and incorporate them. So I think that's one of those great things that's going to be a takeaway, more communication. So yes.
Yeah, that's great. Great.
Awesome. And also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Our handle on Instagram is Game of Books Podcast, and on Facebook and Twitter, it's GOB Writers. That's Game of Books Writers. That's us. And reach out with any ideas you have for future episodes. We're still formulating next season, and we'd love.
It's filling up. It's filling up.
It's filling up fast. But we'd love to hear any of your fave authors you'd love to have us talk to.
Mm-hmm. And Cathi, I think I just need to have another sip of this minerality. And
I had a couple sips, so mine's getting lower than yours is.
Well, at least we can just say until next time.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.